The Little Mermaid. The first moment. Far beneath the rolling waves of the deepest ocean, where sunlight filters down in dancing beams of blue and gold, there lay a magnificent underwater kingdom. The sea floor was carpeted with the finest white sand, and gardens of coral grew in every color imaginable: crimson, violet, orange, and pink. Schools of tropical fish swam like living rainbows through forests of swaying seaweed, and the water itself seemed to shimmer with an inner light. In the heart of this magical realm stood a palace built entirely of coral and adorned with pearls that glowed like captured moonlight. This was the home of the Sea King, a wise and powerful ruler with a long flowing beard of sea green and a crown made from the rarest black pearls. He had ruled the ocean kingdom for centuries, beloved by all sea creatures for his just and gentle nature. The Sea King had 6 daughters, each more beautiful than the last, but the youngest was the most beautiful of all. Her name was Ariel, and she possessed an ethereal beauty that seemed to come from the very essence of the sea itself. Her hair flowed like liquid silk in shades of auburn and gold, her eyes were as blue as the deepest ocean, and her voice was so pure and sweet that even the dolphins would gather to listen when she sang. But what made Ariel truly special was not just her beauty, it was her insatiable curiosity about the world above the waves. While her sisters were content to play in the coral gardens and attend royal functions, Ariel dreamed of the mysterious surface world where humans lived. She had heard stories from her grandmother about strange creatures called humans who walked on 2 legs instead of swimming, who lived in structures that touched the sky, and who created wondrous objects unlike anything in the sea. On her 15th birthday, according to the ancient traditions of the Sea Kingdom, Ariel would finally be allowed to rise to the surface and see the human world with her own eyes. Her sisters had all taken their first journey to the surface on their 15th birthdays, and each had returned with stories, though none had shown the intense fascination that burned in Ariel's heart. As the day of her 15th birthday approached, Ariel spent her time exploring shipwrecks and collecting human artifacts, forks, candlesticks, music boxes, and other mysterious objects that had fallen to the ocean floor. She kept these treasures in a secret grotto, where she would sit for hours, imagining what life must be like in the world above. Her best friend was a little fish named Flounder, who was loyal and brave despite his tendency to worry about everything. Together, they would explore the ocean, always searching for new treasures and new clues about the human world. Sebastian, a red crab who served as the court composer and was assigned to watch over Ariel, constantly worried about her adventures and tried to convince her that life under the sea was far superior to anything the surface world could offer. The human world is a dangerous place, Sebastian would warn her, waving his claws dramatically. Down here, we have everything we need: music, dancing, and all the wonders of the ocean. Why would you want to leave paradise? But Ariel's longing only grew stronger with each passing day. She would swim to the surface in secret, hiding behind rocks to watch ships pass by, wondering about the people aboard them and dreaming of the day she could walk among them. The middle journey. On the night of her 15th birthday, Ariel finally received permission to rise to the surface. She swam upward through the darkening water, her heart pounding with excitement and anticipation. As she broke through the surface for the first time, she gasped at the beauty of the world above, the vast expanse of sky dotted with twinkling stars, the silvery path of moonlight on the water, and the fresh salt air that filled her lungs. In the distance, she saw a magnificent ship blazing with lights and filled with music and laughter. Unable to resist, she swam closer and discovered that the humans aboard were celebrating. Through the windows, she saw a handsome young man with dark hair and kind eyes, Prince Eric, who was celebrating his birthday with his crew. As Ariel watched, enchanted by the prince's laughter and the joy of the celebration, a terrible storm suddenly arose. Lightning split the sky, and massive waves crashed over the ship. The vessel was torn apart by the tempest, and Ariel watched in horror as Prince Eric was thrown into the churning sea. Without hesitation, Ariel dove beneath the waves and rescued the unconscious prince, pulling him to shore with all her strength. She stayed with him until she was sure he was breathing, singing softly to help him recover. When she heard voices approaching, she quickly returned to the sea, but not before Prince Eric's eyes fluttered open and he caught a glimpse of her face and heard her beautiful voice. From that moment, Ariel was hopelessly in love. She spent her days dreaming of Prince Eric and longing to see him again, but she was forbidden to return to the surface without permission. Her behavior became so strange that her father, the Sea King, discovered her secret grotto filled with human artifacts. In his anger and fear for her safety, the Sea King destroyed all of Ariel's treasures with his powerful trident, leaving her heartbroken and more determined than ever to join the human world. In her despair, she made a desperate decision that would change her life forever. Ariel sought out Ursula, the sea witch who lived in the darkest depths of the ocean. Ursula was a terrifying creature with the upper body of a woman and the lower body of an octopus, surrounded by writhing tentacles. She had once been part of the royal court but had been banished for practicing dark magic. "I can give you what you want," Ursula said with a cruel smile. "I can give you legs and allow you to walk in the human world. But the price is steep. You must give me your voice. And you will have only 3 days to win the prince's love and receive true love's kiss. If you fail, you will belong to me forever." Desperate to be with Prince Eric, Ariel agreed to the bargain. Ursula took her voice and transformed her tail into human legs. Ariel was found on the beach by Prince Eric, who was drawn to her beauty but couldn't identify her as his mysterious rescuer without her voice. For 3 days, Ariel tried to win Eric's love through her actions and presence alone. They spent magical time together, and Eric began to fall in love with the mysterious girl who had appeared on his beach. But without her voice, Ariel couldn't tell him who she truly was. On the 3rd day, just as Eric was about to kiss Ariel, Ursula, in disguise, enchanted him to marry her instead. The Sea Witch's plan was to use Ariel's failure to gain power over the entire Ocean Kingdom. The last moment. As Ursula's 3-day deadline expired and Ariel began to transform back into a mermaid, the Sea King arrived to save his daughter. Seeing the depth of Ariel's love for the human prince and her willingness to sacrifice everything for that love, he realized that his daughter's happiness was more important than his own fears. The Sea King engaged in a fierce battle with Ursula, who had grown to monstrous size and was threatening to destroy both the Ocean Kingdom and the human world. With Prince Eric's help, for he had broken free from Ursula's spell and remembered his true love, they defeated the Sea Witch once and for all. In the aftermath of the battle, as Ariel lay on the shore still in her mermaid form, the Sea King made the most difficult decision of his life. He saw the love in Prince Eric's eyes as he knelt beside his daughter, and he understood that Ariel's heart truly belonged to the human world. "I have watched my daughter her entire life," the Sea King said, his voice heavy with both sadness and love. "I have seen her curiosity about your world, her kindness toward all living things, and her courage in the face of danger. She has the heart of a true princess, whether she lives in the sea or on land." With his trident glowing with powerful magic, the Sea King raised it toward his beloved daughter. "Ariel, my child, I have always wanted you to be happy. If being human is what will make you happy, then I will not stand in your way." Golden light surrounded Ariel as her father's magic transformed her permanently into a human. Her tail dissolved into 2 graceful legs, and she rose from the water, no longer a mermaid but a human woman with all the beauty and grace of the sea still within her. Prince Eric swept her into his arms, and they shared their first kiss as the sun set over the ocean, painting the sky in brilliant shades of pink and gold. The kiss was everything Ariel had dreamed it would be: tender, passionate, and filled with the promise of a love that would last forever. Their wedding was a celebration unlike any the kingdom had ever seen. The ceremony took place on a beautiful ship anchored in the harbor, with guests from both the human world and the Sea Kingdom in attendance. The Sea King himself rose from the depths to give his daughter away, and all the sea creatures gathered to witness the union of their beloved princess with the human prince she loved. Ariel wore a gown that seemed to be made of sea foam and starlight, with a train that flowed like ocean waves. Her hair was adorned with pearls and sea flowers, and her eyes sparkled with joy and love. As she walked down the aisle toward Prince Eric, she felt the salt breeze in her hair and heard the familiar sound of waves against the ship's hull, reminders that she would always carry the sea within her heart. Prince Eric, handsome in his royal uniform, watched his bride approach with wonder and devotion. When they exchanged vows, promising to love each other through calm seas and stormy weather, there wasn't a dry eye among the wedding guests. Whether they had fins or feet. The Sea King, though sad to see his youngest daughter leave the Ocean Kingdom, was filled with pride and joy. He had learned that true love knows no boundaries, and that sometimes the greatest act of love is letting go. As he watched Ariel and Eric dance their first dance as husband and wife, he knew he had made the right choice. Sebastian, who had initially been horrified by Ariel's desire to join the human world, had come to serve as the court composer in Eric's kingdom. He conducted the wedding music with tears of joy in his eyes, finally understanding that home isn't a place, but wherever the people you love are happy. Flounder, still Ariel's faithful friend, swam in a special tank created just for him so he could attend the wedding. He had learned that friendship means supporting your friends' dreams, even when they take them far from you. As the years passed, Ariel and Eric ruled their kingdom with wisdom and compassion, always protecting both the sea and the land. They had children who inherited their mother's love of the ocean and their father's courage and kindness. Ariel would often take them to the shore, where she would tell them stories of the underwater kingdom and sing them the songs she had learned beneath the waves. On quiet evenings, Ariel would stand at the edge of the sea, letting the waves wash over her feet. She would remember her life as a mermaid and feel grateful for the father who had loved her enough to let her follow her dreams. The sea would always be part of her, and she would always be part of the sea. Prince Eric would often find her there, and he would wrap his arms around her as they watched the sunset paint the water in brilliant colors. "Do you ever regret your choice?" he would ask softly. And Ariel would smile, feeling the warmth of his love and the contentment of a dream fulfilled. "Never," she would reply. "I have found my home, my love, and my purpose. What more could anyone ask for?" Sometimes, on the calmest nights, the Sea King would rise to the surface to visit his daughter. They would sit on the rocks together, sharing stories and laughter, and Ariel would introduce him to his grandchildren, who would listen in wonder to their grandfather's tales of the deep ocean. The end. And so concludes the tale of the Little Mermaid, a story about following your dreams, the power of true love, and the courage to bridge two different worlds. Ariel's journey reminds us that love knows no boundaries, that family means supporting each other's happiness, and that sometimes the greatest adventures come from having the courage to explore the unknown.